talk about Ark Survival Evolved, the game. Um, Me and one of my friends, we started playing this game Sunday night. We've played in the past, but we started playing again Sunday night. And during our journey of restarting, we ran into Trudons, which, if you don't know what they are, essentially they're little dinosaurs that um, they are not that hard to fight if you are prepared, but if you're not prepared and you're not at a point in the game where you can deal with them, then they're very, very scary. Um, they can put you to sleep, and there's really nothing you can do about it other than just don't get hit. But the important thing about Trudons is that they mostly attack at night. Um, their range where they will attack you is much, much smaller during the day than it is at night. So when you talk about, you know, like how do you deal with them? Well, during the day you pretty much just avoid them. Like you just don't like whatever. At nighttime they're a little bit more scary, but their eyes also glow in the dark, so you have a lot better vision for when when they might show up. So in the dark they're very easy to see, but they're also more scary. I think that's a really cool example of kind of what the devil's like in some, at least in some aspects. The enemy is very, um, he's very deceiving. He will give you things and throw stuff at you that look really small and they look not very threatening. Um, but if you manage, if you let yourself get hit by them, they can be really deadly. And this you can go so much deeper with that, where you could even say, like, during the daytime when it's light out and you are in God's presence a lot, maybe you're reading your Bible every day, you're praying, you're being consistent. When it's daytime you're doing great, and the devil will like kind of be there, and you might see him or hear him or whatever, but his range of what he can do is much, much smaller. There's a lot less ways for him to attack you. Um, there's just a lot less that he can do because you're living in the light of God. Um, and then there are seasons in our lives where we're not close to God, where maybe we're not like against God, but we're just not being consistent. We're not really praying every day. We're not reading our Bible every day. Maybe we're just kind of living our life. Maybe you're even further than that, and you're like, yeah, God exists, but I don't care, and I'm living my life doing all all the awesome things that come with that. Um, that, that really make you feel great about yourself and build self confidence and all those great things that we all know about. But when you're in the dark, it's really easy to see what the devil's doing, because I mean, in our lives, it's because we're doing those things. Like, it's like we're far from God. Well, why are like point out some things you're doing wrong? It's like that's so easy. Like, well, I haven't read my Bible in seven seven days. I haven't prayed in 2 months. It's like I fell into this sin and this sin and this sin, and I've been doing all of these things consistently, and it's very easy. They're easy to see in the dark. So what the enemy's doing is super, super easy to see in the dark because we're actively doing it. We're living it. We're not close to God. Um, and it's really easy for the devil to attack you with those things and essentially put you to sleep. Um, in almost a trance of sorts, um, where you just have no control over um, over the decisions you make and different um, maybe actions that you take or or the I don't know your feelings, your emotions. You maybe you just lose control a lot. Um, and it's really easy to see what the devil's doing in those moments. And when he when he poisons you with those things, it's really easy to just fall asleep and just say, "Oh, well, that sucks," and move on. And then next thing you know, you're in this cycle of, falling and maybe waking up, and then you fall further, and then you just keep falling, and there's never there's not an obvious fix, and so you just keep going. But if you come prepared, and if you're, we'll call it a spiritual level, I guess, is high enough, and you are prepared for the things that you need to deal with, and when the devil tries to strike you, you can fend him off. And if you can't fend him off, even if he bites you and he inflicts you with that venom, you have the ability to say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm prepared for this. I will, in ARC, it's eating stimberries or uh, stimulants, and they are essentially things that keep you awake. So you know, they combat they combat Trudons very well because they will keep you awake. Um, so I think we can do that spiritually, and the Bible lays out pretty. Um, I would I think you could argue probably pretty clearly. I don't have any verses on hand um, to give you for that, but those are things that we can absolutely do, and the Bible tells us very clearly that we have the power to tread on serpents and crush scorpions, and that's something that I think we overlook a lot. Um, so be encouraged that you have the power to fight the enemy, and you have that power to say no, I'm not gonna do that, and I'm gonna live a life that pleases God.